Hey guys, we're back to another episode of Nerdrant. I'm Dr. Zombie and also known as Seth with my co-host.
I don't know, what's my name?
That's a good question. Jared.
Jared, you're not wrong. I am Jared, aka JJ.
You asked, I gave you the name.
Yep, I'm Jared, aka JJ today.
And I got a blender.
Yep, and he might have stuck his hand in it, he might not have.
Strawberry
undisclosed.
banana. Oh, I already did, absolutely. It wasn't on, but I absolutely already stuck my hand in the blender.
When a Gen Z gets a
I'm playing
blender,
with
the
it right
first
now, trying to
impulse
open
is
it.
stick the hand inside.
And that's pretty much a summary of how our brains work. Anyway,
Yeah.
What are we talking about today, JJ?
So full disclosure again, guys, this was a right before the podcast idea. So, we're talking about Valve. There's a couple things
And
that
slash
are
or
linked to that.
console war.
Yeah, console stuff, because Valve has
More
had
PC
a lot
Valve
more
space today,
uprising
but
in the recent space. Like, as everybody knows, with the handheld generation coming in, they came out with the Steam Deck, right? And they also have their own VR, and they're planning on coming out with their own console. So these are all things that kind of need to be at least addressed a little bit, because obviously Valve is nothing like the consoles we currently have. Steam is a massive platform, and even the way it runs on the Steam Deck, it's just so broad that they can't moderate things as well as you can on like Xbox or PlayStation, right? Everything that goes on the Xbox or PlayStation store is very cleared and checked. Like, it's very hard to get past any of their moderation systems.
I don't know. I think I've told you about it. Carlton, the one game about getting milk.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the developer make it. Like, that's just not a thing that's going to come on on console as easily.
Yeah. So, like
that's going to have to get checked, whereas you could just straight throw it on Steam. Easy. Done. Nothing really to it.
If Valve came out with a console, it wouldn't necessarily be as much of a entertainment system as it would be a cheap version of a PC for people to use. Or I guess the better way to put it is a limited version of a PC, because obviously it probably wouldn't have all of the same effects that a PC does.
No, absolutely not. But it would definitely do more than, say, something like a Switch.
Yeah.
Right? In terms of, like, handheld, not just performance. Like, obviously, the Steam Deck might have a better chip, but, like, it's not straight a computer, but it's also not straight a handheld console.
Yeah.
It's an in-between type of thing.
It wouldn't be that difficult for them to do either, because obviously they already have their SteamOS for the Steam Deck, so all they would have to do is kind of scale that up in a way to be a console UI, make more sense on bigger screens and navigated more with a controller. You'd obviously be removing the touchscreen element, so it's not that out there, especially because they already have every other piece of a console ecosystem.
They just got to combine their assets type of thing.
Exactly. They just
like,
kind of have to bring
this
it all
and combine
together.
this, and boom, there you go.
And what's the reason that this idea is on the field? Well, obviously we've talked about it in the past, but Xbox has kind of, I don't want to say like dipped out of the console war, because they've
given up. They have given up. Like, that's just not their focus.
I feel like it's better to say they have kind of ascended from it. They don't really care about the consoles anymore, because they realize that a lot of the gaming that they are catering to is more the cloud stuff, remote gaming on anything possible. That's what they're catering towards, and they're putting all their funds into Game Pass. So because they're doing that, their consoles were already suffering, so why not just cut that completely, put those extra funds towards...
That's what I mean, like, they lost. They're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
I really don't know what Xbox as a console could do other than the cloud streaming. I think that is where their focus should be. Game development and access anywhere versus the consoles themselves, especially with the fact that it is Microsoft. They should focus on PC gaming, right? Because that is where they are. Windows, that's the primary thing.
And the CEO has already stated,
unless they do handheld,
they don't believe that better consoles are going to be as popular in the coming days. Like, we already have some pretty impressive, amazing graphics on console, right? And obviously, you can keep growing as things get better, but once you reach a certain point, it's not going to be as crucial to people to have better graphics. They are just going to want something that loads things fast and looks good enough. So in the end, coming out with better consoles that just have better hardware.
Pro.
Yeah. In the end, just coming out with consoles with better hardware isn't going to be the huge solution. They need to find a way to keep putting stuff out that isn't going to end up becoming not dated, but like that isn't going to hit a dead end in a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, PS5 Pro, right? Like, a lot of talk was about the polygons, right? Like, after a certain point, you could quadruple the polygons, and you're not going to notice that big of a difference because you're already at a curved surface versus a straight surface, right? With polygons. Like you said too, like the biggest thing I feel like at this point for upgrades is that speed, like loading times and storage. But if you can really condense that and do cloud streaming versus actually downloading the game, right there is another thing that they can be focusing on that would really help, being able to stream games. PlayStation has that too, right? With my highest tier, I can stream almost every game. I think I still have to download it, but like most games are going to be less than a gigabyte.
Exactly.
And with 2 terabytes, I theoretically could play like 1,000 games and be fine with storage.
Yeah, there's a lot easier ways to do it, especially
anymore.
Because most people these days don't, like, even on the consoles that have a terabyte of storage, you can't have more than 10-15 games because games themselves are getting too big. And Wi-Fi is not getting any faster. So when people go to download a game...
they did find a way to, like, file the tomato space and, like, multiply the speed of Wi-Fi by
but that's not provided to the common consumer yet. So
that's not the average. No, it's not
until
average.
We get there.
But
for now, we're kind of stuck
Wi-Fi will be getting faster eventually.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck in the spot of like people aren't willing to wait the 20 to 50 hours to download the Call of Duty hub on a 50 megabytes per second internet speed.
I don't know. I have pretty average internet, and it takes me like 3
hours.
Yeah.
What's your download speed?
I could download like I don't quite remember, but it's nothing like super crazy.
I know average is like 100 megabytes per second, if not more. Like,
I think ours is like 150.
Yeah. See, mine
maybe
here,
200.
I only get maybe 15 to 20 megabytes.
You have like 2 kilosecond. You have like, you get like kilobytes. You get kilobytes. You get
it
kilobytes,
gets
my
there.
dude.
It gets there. But no, people don't really want to set all of those downloads up and just wait to play things when they could just stream it using their Wi-Fi that is already good. Like, why wait for the download when you already have a good enough Wi-Fi to just stream it? And then you're also getting the highest possible graphics, even if you're not on like the common generation. If you were streaming from your phone, you're getting the same graphics that you would on high settings on that new gen console. So why in
the biggest thing might
would
be
you
the refresh
invest?
rate, depending mostly just iPhone, but even then, like, compared to PC, you're going to be capped at 120 most likely. That's really the only thing that you're going to be missing out on.
Then it comes to like I think, and don't correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure with Xbox's cloud streaming, as long as your TV has that refresh rate, it does put it out from the cloud streaming, because you can cloud stream from a Fire Stick. So if you put that into the TV and cloud stream off that, I'm pretty sure you can get up to 120, I want to say. Because that's
what I'm saying, though. Like, I mean, even then, like, compared to PC, the only thing that's going to be capped is 120. And even then, that's really not that bad for most story games, right? I'm just saying the only phone that might hinder is an iPhone, right? Because the base phones are 60 refresh rate. But even then, I still don't think that's as bad as some people say. But again, that's really not that bad to be capped at 120.
Yeah, not at all. So, cloud
streaming... The people that say otherwise are snobs. 120 FPS on something like God of War or Witcher, like some of these crazy games, is absolutely fine. Okay?
60 is fine.
It's not that bad.
Yeah.
60 can be rough, but even then, it's not that bad. 30 FPS, that's where it gets atrocious.
That's pretty bad. But no, this generation has very much gone toward cloud streaming, and so it's going to be interesting to see how Valve tackles this, because Xbox is kind of leaving a space here. We don't want PlayStation to be like the only good current console that's releasing.
No, we don't want a monopoly.
Exactly, because then they can raise the prices to whatever they want, and there's going to be nobody...
That's the whole thing with the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
Because there was no generation with Xbox to challenge it, why would they charge cheaper? Why?
Exactly. So it's kind of a case where somebody needs to fill that space, and it just makes the most sense and kind of lines up with some of the rumors we've been seeing for it to be Valve, right? And we have talked in the past, I remember us talking about if we kind of got a console that was part PC. I think we were talking about...
I think we talked about with Epic
Xbox.
Games a lot more.
Yeah, we were talking about if an Xbox released and it was more of just like a PC in an Xbox than an actual like OS, and we had said like then you could have things like Steam or Epic Games on said console, and I don't know, it would be a lot different, but I think it would be really good too, because then it kind of forces the... I'm struggling with like words here, describing words, nouns. No, that's adjectives. I know words, but it would force the space of gaming and consoles to grow. It would force them to evolve, which is kind of important.
There we go. We got there.
Yeah.
Yes. But again, like you said, I really do think we're at a kind of, not a stopping point, but we are at another hurdle, right? Like, where do we go? I think the only place that we could go, but again, this is not going to be in the new console, which is a W for Xbox/Microsoft, would be quantum mechanics. I don't know if you saw all that stuff that's been happening.
What?
So Microsoft created a new type of state of matter for quantum computing.
Hold on.
The Majora 1.
Hold on.
Microsoft.
What?
You didn't see this? No. Yes. So you know solid liquid gas? They created a new one for subatomic size. That is, I saw someone referring to it like the states of matter that we have are like ink on a paper, right? You can smudge it. But this new state of matter is like a tattoo, where if you stretch your skin, it's still kind of solid. So it's more prone to human error.
What's it called?
And because it's more stable like that, Majora 1.
Majora 1.
Yeah, no, it's a whole...
No,
like
not
they
Majora's
straight up
Mask.
created a new state of matter. Majora 1 chip. It's like one of the first things.
It keeps trying to plug me to Zelda.
Can you not find it?
Oh, here it is. 6 days ago.
Microsoft. There we go.
That is an AI-generated image. Let's go.
But yeah, like I've been reading through it a little bit.
Topological
it's really crazy.
core architecture.
Yes, there's a lot of
topoconductor.
fancy words. They're like, it's so pretty much what I've seen is this is not quite quantum computing. These are like the blueprints to the engine to the car. So they don't have a car. They can't actually do quantum computing yet. But they have now created all the specs to pretty much start that process. And now that they have the fundamental sciences for this stuff, they can now proceed into doing this. So it's just, what blows me away about this is that it was Microsoft that are making these developments. I'm thinking this is NASA or something.
That's not that surprising to me. Like, if you really think about all of the companies out there who have the money to do this, I would
absolutely.
think Microsoft would be one
of the bigger
them.
ones. But again, like, I was just out of nowhere. I was not expecting one day, hey, new state of matter was formed by Microsoft. I'm like, what? Okay. It's really interesting. I've read through this a few times, but again, it's quantum mechanics and computing. It is not... It's not command block or something. Like, it's a little bit more complex. It's really interesting, though. You should totally go through and read it. I've been trying to tackle it a little bit day by day, but that's what Microsoft is going. Obviously, though, this is not going to be something that's going to be put in our consoles anytime soon. But what they're talking about with these chips is take every bit of computing power that we currently have on all of planet Earth And thanks to this, we can get that in the palm of our hand. That's how much faster it is. So you know ones and zeros, right? What are the states of ones and zeros? It can either be what?
Positive and negative?
No, it's either 1 or 0, right? When you're doing binary, like you either put it as 1 or 0. Quantum computing.
Yeah, positive or negative.
Well, not necessarily positive or negative. We're not making computer programming But what this will allow us to do is do 1 and 0 at the same time. It's really crazy, but anyway.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Oh, this absolutely could create artificial... Like, this absolutely could go crazy. This could totally go Terminator on us. But we got some time before it gets there. But, like, this has been really interesting to read. But this is not what we're talking about. I figured you would have known this. This is everywhere.
You know what? Even if I did, I probably didn't think it was real. Like, to be completely honest with you, I probably saw it, scrolled past it, being like, another clickbait headline. Microsoft invents a new state of matter. Yeah, right.
They did. They did.
Bruh.
So maybe this is why they gave up on the console wars in the last few years. It's like, hey, y'all, we're gonna give up on consoles.
They're like, consoles?
Matter.
We don't need those anymore. We're creating science.
We are going Ant-Man on y'all. We're creating PIM particles, y'all. Anyway,
bruh.
Back to Valve. JJ, Valve news with you.
Yeah, so Valve, they're coming out with a console, probably. This is all alleged, but if they do, like we said, they're going to have to port over their Steam OS, but that would open up a lot of opportunities for the gaming industry, because when and if they do that, that would imply that 90% of Steam and Steam's games will also be available on this console, which means all of those indie games, those indie creators who aren't able to publish on anything but PC, are now going to be on a mainstream console that anyone can get their hands on.
That's nice, but do you know what else I could picture that being even better at in 2 ways? One's friends tabs. Right? Like having a really nice universal like console/PC friends list. Xbox is better. Like PlayStation's definitely the worst, right? Because Xbox does have that. But I think like, you know, as we go forward, I think Steam's going to be even bigger, right? Become a more major player in this. So if they had something like that, that'd be really nice to have chats and friends tabs and everything and joining through that. But especially with certain games, modding. If we had Steam consoles, I could get T-Mod Loader for Terraria on console.
Yep.
That's what I'm excited. Like, it's just that new
it's the idea of anything that we didn't have before because it didn't work with being like an actual console, we now have access to because it's essentially PC stuff here. All they would have to do natively
change the UI.
Make it work with their
just change
Steam
the
OS.
UI realistically.
Yeah, and change the UI. Allow it to work with a Steam controller, which is something they already have, and most games are compatible
but also
with.
most games aren't compatible with
end, they really don't.
Both controllers. Could the Steam console theoretically take DualSense and Xbox controllers? That'd be even that'd be even bigger. Like, Xbox doesn't take PlayStation doesn't take Xbox. To have a console that you could take any controller layout that you want and use it on almost any game. That is like a major player
now,
right there.
Here is the kicker though. For ever since consoles have existed, right? The console gaming space, Xbox and PlayStation, even Nintendo. It's usually been a case of we've picked sides, right? So you're on PlayStation, I'm on Xbox, and all of the games I have ever purchased are for Xbox. They're on my Xbox profile if I purchase them digitally, and they're
discs.
Xbox discs if I purchase them
But you don't buy
physically.
Nintendo discs?
If Steam...
That's a joke, because Nintendo doesn't have discs.
If Valve came out with their own console now, they would be in a tough spot simply because... If I have never owned a PC, I own
and that's
no
what
games
so many
there.
people...
I might have 50 games sitting on my shelf of Xbox, but because I've never owned a PC, I don't own any games on Steam. So then it raises the question of, would they try and import a way for you to get your games that you own digitally on your Xbox profile on Steam. I know Xbox and Valve were in talks in the past to put Game Pass on Steam in a way, because I'm pretty sure Steam has a way to do like subscriptions. I haven't done anything like that, but I'm pretty sure there's a way to do it. So would they then incorporate Game Pass?
Yeah.
That would then imply that they are linked to Xbox, and would I be able to port my Xbox games over? And there's the same idea with
so
PlayStation.
many people
Can I link my PlayStation
when I got
profile
my
and
Pro,
bring my games
and they're
over?
like, just switch to PC. All right, are you going to pay for 20, 30 of the games I actively play? I'm going to have to buy God of War 2018. I'm going to have to buy Ragnarok. Hitman I like playing every once in a while. Ghost of Tsushima. I'm going to have to buy Diablo 3, all the Call of Duties, especially like the new one, right? There's a whole other $70 that I got to pay for to get it again. Like, that at that point,
yeah,
I might as well have just bought a whole new, like, twice the price of a PC then. Or I just get the Pro, and then I have my games.
So if they come out with a console, it's presumably going to be the same, if not more expensive than our current consoles, which already would be a pretty rough start for them, because entering a space that's pre-existing is difficult as it is. And then on top of that, having to find a way to get people games without being able to use the ones they already have, it would just be a really rough start for them. So probably if and only if they are able to at least get some of the games that people already own over and allow you to use them, then I think that's probably one of the only ways they'd be able to successfully enter the space.
Because, another talk that's been happening with gaming is digital media. If you don't own it, if you don't actually like physically own it, you don't own it. Streaming, digital, all that kind of stuff. And actually, I don't know if you saw, apparently that happened with the Amazon Kindles this last month. They pretty much made it where you cannot you can't back it up. You need Wi-Fi, and you can only do it to another Wi-Fi device. So you pretty much don't own any of your books anymore. So if Amazon wants to edit it or take it off, you no longer have access to that unless you did it prior to February 28th. But with that, and remember when Xbox and PlayStation been going down, GameStop's been talking. What if they do a partnership with GameStop and they will take your physical games and give you a Steam version? What if you give them your PS5 version of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and they will give you a Steam code or copy? Either fully or like partially. Like, we'll give you 50% off, or we'll give it fully 1-to-1.
I feel like there's kind of a weird loophole there, though. Like, it would be very difficult to do, because even, like, I could go to a used game store, buy 5 games for way cheaper than they are on Steam, and just turn them in at a GameStop for codes. Like, that doesn't make much sense to do.
See, like, that wouldn't make sense for Xbox or PlayStation, but Steam already does sales so much, and big sales. So, like, I feel like they'd already be losing. Like, they already, like, do that, so have that. Or what if you did that with pre-orders? What if you pre-order the Steam console and you can do that? So if you pre-order the Steam console at your local GameStop, you can trade in your PS5 or Xbox Series S and X games physical, and only with those pre-orders can you do that. So a limited time thing.
Yeah. Or maybe, I know Lexi actually showed me this with movies. There is a way, I think it's specifically with Vudu, but I'm not positive, that if you scan the barcode on a physical movie you have, I'm pretty sure you can get a discount buying it on Vudu, but it only works for that one barcode. So, like, if I have another movie of the same exact movie, different case, I could do it again, but not on that same case twice, which means every single one would only work once, so it makes sense if people only use the ones on their shelves. And then I could get a discount on the game.
I don't remember directly Vudu, but that's definitely not the newest thing. Like Disney and like a lot of older times, a lot of my DVDs, they'd be like, hey, you can get it digitally. Like, there's a code in the box for the digital version. So
I could very much see at least Steam doing that. And here's the other thing again. Steam has never sold physical discs, really. Obviously, there's the exception of, like, we had the Orange Box way back when, and I'm sure a couple of their various games that have come out more recently have had discs, but their main thing has been digital selling. And so I don't know if they'd really come out with physical games if they release a console. I don't know like how that would work. And if they did, would you get it digitally or would it still be physical? Because once again, physical is kind of a dying space right now. It's more of a collector's thing. So at that point, would they really want to invest in that, or would they just sell like digital codes? Would they sell collector's
And here's another hard
editions for
part,
games?
right? With something like Steam, backwards compatibility, right? If they made a new console, we'd still have games like Team Fortress 2 on there, I assume. Are they gonna make a physical disc for a? How old is Team Fortress 2? Like, are they going to make a Team Fortress 2 disc or Portal 1 and Portal 2? Counter-Strike 2, which is free to play?
The only way I could see any of that working is maybe if they make it run Xbox and PlayStation discs.
But Xbox,
there's an idea, actually. Hold on.
PlayStation.
Are those discs, like, patented? Like, can legally, if I put, like, my Xbox disc into a PC... am I able to access the data on it? Like, is that a thing I can do? Obviously, like, when you just put it in, it's going to say, oh, you can't read this disc. But, like, the data's still there, right?
I think that is more of a legal sense. Like, there is something in the OS that, like, accepts the code to then start downloading or playing it.
So what if legally they got permission to allow their console to
that
run
would be
both
crazy.
discs?
And I could see Xbox doing that. I just don't see PlayStation doing that. Which sucks. But then, like, again, that's like one of the big things that is driving for PlayStation and Xbox before, not as much anymore. At that point, then what's the point of buying a PlayStation? If I can buy PlayStation games on sale or whatever and just play them on my this. Like, there's no point of buying a PlayStation. Xbox, that's the reason Xbox is struggling, because there is no point of buying an Xbox when I can play it on PC. So if there is one console where I can play Steam games, Xbox, PlayStation, that's a monopoly then. Like, I mean, at that point, PlayStation would be a game
Here's the thing, though. Like, if Xbox really is dipping out of the console battle and they're becoming a sole, like, game developer and Game Pass cloud streaming kind of entity, they aren't going to publish a console for their games to run on, but they're going to keep publishing games. So if they do that, are they going to keep publishing them under the Xbox label, or are they just going to publish under their studio's label? I don't think it makes sense to publish under their studio's label, because there's a lot of studios that they have, right? So I feel like publishing under that Xbox logo, you know, having that same, like, Xbox case look for all of their games that they publish would make sense, but they don't have anything to run them on, so then making a deal with Valve to run those discs on the Valve console... I don't know. I feel like that would make sense,
it
right?
wouldn't be terrible.
It becomes like there's no need for the, like, legal lock on their discs anymore. Like, they could essentially just give Valve permission to run any Xbox game that was backwards compatible with the Xbox. Because at that point, what are they going to do with it? They're not publishing another console.
Yeah, they are. Pringle can. The 720. The 720 Sphere.
Bruh.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying no. And of course, right? Also,
I saw this too.
Just a quick rehash. Like you said, this is also all skeptical. This is all rumors. Like, this isn't confirmed. Steam is not making a new console and dropping this year. Maybe.
No. This is all theoretic. Like,
theoretical.
It just makes the most sense to be the next.
But JJ, we've also had this conversation.
Space.
I'm pretty sure straight up like 2-3 times, like Epic Games and stuff, and here we are. So.
No, but this one makes sense.
And so. Sigh. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, chat.
It's just a Fortnite rule.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I saw this on a reel. Somebody was basically talking about this same thing where Valve could make a console. They were saying, like, every console with its generation comes out, like, and debuts with first-party games, right? So, like, the Series X came out with Halo Infinite. That was the first-party game. Then they had Gears 5, Yeah, I think it was 5. Gears 5 came out like a month before that too, and also launched with the console. And then they technically had the deal with Assassin's Creed Valhalla as well. And then PlayStation, what did the PS5 release with?
I mean, obviously we have not Astrobot, but Astro's Playroom. But obviously God of War Ragnarok, right, was very early on. I'm not sure if that was quite launched because that's a PS4 version. But
and then Spider-Man 2 came out, right? Or no, that was later.
No, yeah, Spider-Man 2. Well, Miles Morales possibly.
Yeah, Miles Morales. That's right. That one came out.
Miles
with
Morales
PS5.
probably would have been the one to be near launch.
So every console, no matter the generation, came out with first-party games. So people were saying Valve doesn't have that many first-party labels under their belt, but every single one of them is an insanely heavy hitter for its communities. Imagine if the Valve console released with Portal 3 and you could only play it on that console. Do you know how many people would buy the console just for Portal 3?
I mean, yeah. I know you weren't big in Call of Duty, but that's legitimately what also pushed PlayStation so far was the Call of Duty collab, right? We got stuff a month early or a week early. And that sold. A lot. Like, people bought PlayStation just so they can get the new zombie map a month early.
Yeah. I had debated buying a PlayStation just to play the Spider-Man games before they came to PC. So, like, the games
not a wild
have insane
statement.
power. And for something
and
like
Steam,
Portal, which is a legend in the gaming community, like, I'm having my girlfriend play through it right now because that is one of the, like, pillars of gaming itself. And so if they came out with the long, 10-year awaited sequel natively on their console.
14.
People would... 14 years? It's been 14 years since Portal 2?
2011.
Oh my gosh.
It came out on PS3 and Xbox 360.
That's so bad. Oh my gosh. Okay, 14 years. People would buy that crap
question,
so fast.
Is that longer? Is that more or less time than GTA 5?
Sigh.
Also, what else are we waiting on? Elder Scrolls 6.
Yeah. But no, Portal 3
another one.
And like a Team Fortress 3 they could come out with.
I was about to say Team Fortress 3 I think would be even bigger nowadays with just the shooter genre, right?
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals, Splitgate 2, Call of Duty.
Exactly.
And I mean, we had the other ones like Exafite and that failed. Imagine Team Fortress coming back with a brand new game and with it being specifically console, that just fits for controller.
Yeah, the thing with
they
almost
make it
all of
natural
Valve's
for
games
controller.
is because they have laid dormant for so long, they have built such a legacy that when any one of these IPs gets touched, hype is going to explode on the internet. Like Team Fortress 2, you don't have to have played it. I have never played the game myself, but I know what it is. I have seen it before, and I would be very excited to play a sequel, even not having played the previous ones. It's just every single one of their IPs have built a legacy online. What?
Is Team Fortress 3 actually happening?
Is it?
I look it up and it's saying an upcoming 2025 shooter. Is it actually happening?
Probably not.
So will there be a Team Fortress 3? The answer is probably no. Okay. Okay. I mean, there's a whole page, there's a whole Google tab for it.
Bruh.
Anyway. That would be really funny.
Say they came out with, like, 3 first-party games. It makes sense. Usually there's around 3 first-party games that come out. So, a Portal 3, a Team Fortress 3, and what's the other game?
Maybe Half-Life?
That has had installments, but has never had a third game? Half-Life. Insanely popular.
Did it?
Great story franchise.
Alex. There's
Pardon?
Half-Life 2 and Half-Life Alex.
Yes, then there's whatever.
So that's 3.
There was another Half-Life game after that. But Half-Life Alyx was not a 3. It was not a 3. It was just Alyx because it was a different story, side story. So Half-Life 3 could easily happen. A third installment because it's not a side story, it's a continuation of the main story. Imagine they have 3 third games all coming out natively on this new console that they are launching to fill the space that Xbox has left.
And
it would be insane.
And it wouldn't be a new launch, but another thing that's like been pretty big. Valorant, CSGO, CS2 would be coming to console. And like I haven't seen too much of CS2, but I've seen like I remember when it came out. Remember like all the smoke, physics and stuff. Like that's a really good game.
The CS2 graphics and stuff would be insane to have on a console. So imagine they've released and marketed that with it as well. It wouldn't
be a new game, but like coming to console, like where we have Fortnite Ballistic and Valorant.
You would get it on console for one, and for two, you would have a game to show off the amazing graphics that your console can handle. Like that, it's just a marketing genius right there.
So like this, they have the option. It's just a matter of doing it.
They could launch with such a strong start. They just have to lay their cards out right.
Yeah, like those games right there. CS2, Half-Life, Team Fortress 3, and what was the other one? Portal 3.
Portal 3.
Right, those 4 games, right? 3 new ones, and then just a big game coming over. And then those are the direct first party. And then you just let Steam run wild, right? Because they don't even have to do any work. Do they even need those, JJ? Realistically, to sell a console? For all the indie games and fans, Terraria. I would buy it just to be able to play Java Terraria. Like, T-Mod Loader.
Yeah. You'd get all of Xbox's games, because they're a publisher now, so it just makes sense to launch on Steam. And then you would get probably 90% of PlayStation games coming a couple years later. Right? Yeah. It's just like a post-release. So, like, you're getting all of these games. You're getting the best of both worlds. You would probably be able to run most of your physicals. You would get all of these dormant franchises a revival.
And again, even if it's not a revival, like, I don't think I could play Portal 1 or 2 on my PS5. Can you play them on the current gen Xbox?
Yeah, you can.
You can, okay. But again, there's PlayStation, right? PlayStation users coming to this console, being able to play their like God of War Ragnarok, right? There's again a big one, which yes, it is there now, but like that really can push it. Like you don't even need new games; just the games that they currently have already is enough to push a console. I feel like their first party and just the indie genre.
Yeah, they have an insane amount of games on there, and it would probably involve another level of screening a lot of games, because there is a lot of scam games on there. There's a lot of games that aren't.
Oh yeah, they would probably need some more moderation, right? Because
but that
this would
doesn't
be more
necessarily have to happen to Steam. It would just have to happen to the
console
version.
Port.
So have all of the games go through a screening, and if they pass it, then they can be released on console as well. It's a simple thing that could easily happen. It's not a huge hurdle. And
we're still waiting on Fortnite doing that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, again, like in reality, it is a simple thing, but is it? Because we're still waiting on these massive things, and they still don't have it. Minecraft, Fortnite, like, these massive companies, and they still haven't done it. But if anyone
did it, I feel like Steam could do it.
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure I said the same thing about Epic.
Yep. That's why. I want to say they do good, and then we say that about Epic Games, and here we are today. So I'm not going to make any promises on any company I like, because they all eventually let me down.
Yeah.
Reality.
Here's a big question, though. And especially because Steam is a big one in the PC community, it requires you to raise the question of, what about pirating, right?
That is a good question, especially, like I said earlier, if you don't, like, and Steam stated that, and it's like, everyone was freaking out. It's like, this isn't new. Steam just has to say it now, but we don't own our digital games, right? And they can just easily be ripped off. Like, ripped off the store. So, so what's your question? Either pirating or just the ease of access with a console like this?
If, obviously, Steam released this console, how would pirating play a role? Because, obviously, most of the ways people pirate games these days is through, like, a jailbroken version of Steam, or, like, even most of the pirating sites have like Steam in the name. It's like Steam Keys or like Steam Unlocked or something like that. So it's like
allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. But yeah, the Steam is kind of a huge part of the pirating space, and so if they released a console, would there be a way to pirate games on it? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because obviously pirating is not good for the developers. It's just not.
No.
It doesn't support people. And yes, I understand that not everybody can afford to buy a $70 game every time it comes out, but at a certain point, you do have to support the developers, right?
So here's a great example of what piracy does, is anime. Obviously, I know you're not like super into it. You're not watching the weekly ones, but straight up, so you know how most anime are 12 episodes, right? They come out in seasons. Most anime can't even make it 12 episodes because here's how anime works. You watch the show, it does well, the numbers do well, so they make a new season or they do the next episode. Well, where do they get their numbers from? Crunchyroll. If you're not watching on the actual services and you're pirating it, those shows aren't doing well. Does it have 5 million views this week over here? Sure, but those don't count. And now this show got canceled for season 2 or even the show itself because of piracy. That doesn't mean it's a bad game, but it really does hurt those numbers. And to have a major thing like, hey, something like Half-Life 3, what if everyone pirates Half-Life 3 and it's like, well, clearly that game didn't do well because it didn't do the sales. They're not going to make a new one. Because look at X-Defiant. Everyone loved X-Defiant, but it didn't do the sales afterwards.
Yeah.
I know that's a different reason, but because those sales weren't there, even though it had the biggest launch in what was it? Either multiplayer or just all of Ubisoft, it shut down.
Yeah. So it kind of raises the question of, will Valve try and then tackle piracy? Will they try and fix the big piracy problem that they have? Or will they just try and work around it for their console? Because you gotta think, the Steam account is going to be the same for on PC and for on this console, right? So if then somebody is found pirating on PC, they could get their account banned and then they lose their entire console and all the games they bought on there as well. So they would then have to be really careful on PC what to do, because they really can't get caught anywhere on there or else they'll lose everything.
Which, I get it, right? Especially nowadays with all the corporation stuff, but at the same time, don't. It's not right. It is hurting your franchise. You can simply just buy it or buy sales or buy a used copy, right? Physical media, buy that secondhand. And especially with Steam itself, there's so many sales. The chance of you getting the game that you want to play on sale, unless it's a strict first party, like Call of Duty. No, even Call of Duty's on sale a whole bunch. Maybe not the current one, but there's plenty of sales on Steam. I bought almost all of the Call of Duties on my Steam account, even though I can barely play half of them, because they were straight up half off. Yeah. Or $30 for Black Ops 1, 2, and 3.
Steam makes it insanely easy for you to get games at an affordable price. Yes, probably not the most recent games, but there's a plethora of games you can get. So at that point, you wouldn't need to pirate as much, because you'd still be able to play the games.
And I understand, financially, but, it's also in the terms of service, right? Don't pirate. So it sucks that you would lose your library, but that is on you. And you would probably have to agree as well, hey, if you pirate, you accept the risk of losing your entire account. All your games, all your XP, all your G, all of that. Yeah. And they just throw that in there, which it probably already is. And it sucks, but that's just the way it works. And I wouldn't... It's hard. However, did you see that speaking of piracy, I saw a short about these developers that tried to troll the pirates, and they pretty much made a game developer game, right? The game's about being a game developer, but if you pirate it, they make it extra hard. And in-game, people would start pirating, and your business would struggle if you had a pirated version. But then people just enjoyed that because it made an extra challenge. So people actually did better pirating than the actual release because the pirated version had an extra challenge.
Bruh.
But yeah, it is really hard because I want to say both, right? I want to say don't pirate, support the developers, right? Because obviously, especially in a lot of these situations, like even Call of Duty, right? With the AI and all this and that, which I'm not happy with, that doesn't mean every single person at Activision's a bad person. I don't want all of them losing their job. So, like, I want you to support them, but also at the same time, I understand times are hard, eggs are expensive, and buying $70 for 3 new games, like if I want to get Monster Hunter right now and the new Assassin's Creed, right, there's $140. That's not cheap. So I understand wanting to buy or get pirated games. So it is a hard conversation to have. Like, it's not really a simple yes or no, black or white situation.
Yeah.
But I would assume with how big it would be, they would have to do something.
Here's a question for you, and this one is kind of not as related, but do you think the gaming industry has the potential to crash?
In what way?
Like, you know how like a housing market crashes or a car market crashes, where it's like all the prices drop down suddenly because nobody's selling anything because the prices got too high?
I would say, as an entire market, no.
No?
But I could see studios. Like, Ubisoft is going like crazy and privatizing. Rockstar people love Red Dead and GTA 6, but if they really launch GTA 6 at $120-something base, or they're charging for you to drive a car, real life money, then I could see that, like, having a permanent drop, or their studio prices dropping. But I don't see something like that expanding.
If you think about it, though, like, if a single studio like Ubisoft no longer launches that games at 70, what if they launch at 50? Then all of a sudden, the choice between buying the new Ubisoft game or the new PlayStation game is way easier because, I'll just buy the more affordable one first. Well, then Ubisoft's numbers skyrocket, and everybody else needs to sell their games, so they drop their prices down to 52 so that they can actually get those sales again. So that's kind of how the crash kind of domino effects down to the other studios. So when you say, like, yes, I could see the studios crashing, that is kind of the industry crashing, right? Because we're not talking about indie developers when we say the industry, because they do what they want, they sell it what they want, they're kind of their own space. So those big developers and those big publishers are the ones that really would matter when it comes to a crash.
I just feel like if that were to happen, it would just reset. Like if it crashed, it's only going to go down like $10, maybe $15, and it's just going to go back up. Ubisoft makes enough money, and it's like, well, if they're buying us for $50, let's charge $60 for our next game. Like, I just don't see it going up when the costs of games are only getting higher. Right? Like, what? We got quadruple A games now because it takes like $1 billion to make. Like, I don't see games getting cheaper for these third party. But again, this could be where the Steam console comes into play, because if indie can take that step to console and we see the prices, then possibly it could. I don't think it could, but there could be a chance where we do see a crash because indie prices are the norm. We could get access on a console to hundreds, if not thousands, of games that are $15, $20, $30. Both crazy graphics, like unrecorded, or some pixelated 2D games. Like a wide range. You can get different types of story, and they're all at that affordable price range. So that I could see crashing. Possibly. I still don't think so, though, because we'd have to see a big dip for both PlayStation and Xbox, because Xbox isn't like, next year's not shutting down. They still probably got their at least 1, maybe 2 generations at most. So I just don't see in the next 5, 10, 15 years, maybe something like that happening, because they're just too big. PlayStation and Xbox are just too big for that to happen. But I could see Steam doing something about that with their indie titles.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I think so. Probably.
Money, y'all. You should give us some money.
No, we don't have subscriptions yet.
Yet. Y'all need to listen to the next week's episode early. Follow us on Patreon. That's a joke. We do not have Patreon yet. JJ.
Yet. I love
Get
how
on
you
that.
add that yet in parentheses.
Get on that.
Bruh.
Gonna have to be a week ahead.
Subscribe to
Or
our
what would you-
OnlyFans.
Huh.
Nerdrant OnlyFans. Where we showed, I don't know, the batteries in our controllers or something.
Underneath the hood.
Under the battery cover.
Okay, y'all, if you are 5, we're sorry. Most of y'all are probably grandparents, though. Really confused right now.
I don't
You're
know
either
a
5 and you
single
don't
child
understand,
who's gonna
or
know
they're
half of the vocabulary we've used this episode.
Oh, that's true. We did talk about quantum mechanics and states of matter, didn't we?
Yeah, I feel
And
like...
if y'all are gray...
Seth,
Yeah?
I think I know why we don't have a lot of listeners.
Do I use too many big kid terms? Do I need to dumb it
I
down?
think we talk about a lot of stuff that 90% of the populace will not understand.
Do we just need to go back to Fortnite? Do we need to add Skibidi and Sigma to our vocabulary?
That's it.
Coming next week,
I'm putting a
Brain Rot
Skibidi
episode.
toilet on the thumbnail of this episode.
We'll see how it does. Y'all, no, because this is 50-something minutes in, so if y'all clicked on it because of Skibidi and you listened for it because you're wondering where Skibidi comes into play, let us know in the comments. Does Skibidi toilet bring you to podcasts? Social experiments with Nerdrant.
We don't have enough of a community to do a social experiment.
But we do, because it either gets the 3 episodes listens we normally do, which are us, or it goes viral.
Seth, things don't go viral anymore. That's not how the internet works.
It does go viral. Random videos pop off. My one Ado video got like 3,000 views and like crazy retention.
You got ego boosted by a view bot.
No, not when a bunch of people commented, including the creator themselves, which is pretty cool.
Sigh.
Anyway, anything else you want to talk about with the last, 5 minutes about other consoles? How about Avowed? Avowed came out. What's Avowed, JJ? All I know is that it's a One Piece reference.
It's a first-party game that Xbox released, and it hasn't gotten the best reviews from what I've seen. No, it was hugely hyped. Like, it was supposed to be, on the level of, the Elder Scrolls games in terms of, RPGs and stuff. But...
Dang.
It actually turned out to not be built in a great engine, because you know how I don't know if you played Skyrim.
Yeah,
you know how in Skyrim you can literally walk up and just kill an NPC for no reason, and then the whole city will come after you, or you can
sure
attack a tree and it'll literally leave a mark on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this game, even though it came out 10 years, maybe more after Elder Scrolls, it doesn't have any of that. You can't hit NPCs. You can't do damage to a lot of structures around the world. It doesn't have the level of immersiveness that Skyrim does, and that's not exactly what people were expecting.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I haven't heard too many bad things, but I haven't heard too many things in general. That does bring me back to the idea of the Nemesis system that Warner Brothers is still sitting on.
Yeah.
It really sucks that we don't have stuff like that anymore.
Mm.
But, some other games that are coming out... Oh, yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, kind of thought the same thing there, but... Fable also got delayed. The new Fable game got delayed until 2026, which, oof, it's a big delay, but I don't know if you saw any of the footage. Probably not, because you probably don't care, but a lot of it looks insanely good. The visuals and even the gameplay, it looks stunning.
Okay. So is this a good delay then? Some proper polishing versus hey, we screwed up. We gotta remake half the ending or something.
I mean, it seems like it.
Okay. We'll have to wait and see. Whole year though. Dang it, now I forget. What was the game that I wanted to talk about? Bob. Crap.
New game releases.
It wasn't Splitgate 2. What was the new game that's coming out? What's a big game coming out this year, JJ?
GTA.
No. Crap.
I have
Alright.
no idea.
It's a massive one. You know it. Like, we talked. I was gonna be like, yo, it's,
Hightail.
That's crazy. That's
Terraria 2.
diabolical. Speaking of Terraria, I saw a video saying, hey, maybe it's gonna come out in May. It's been working on since 2022. Here's the problem with that, JJ. That came out last year, and it's been past May, and we still don't have a date. So that means Terraria 1.4.5 has been coming. It's been working on for 3 years.
Yay!
It's 2022. Monster Hunters is coming out. I'm currently on a list of just games coming out this year. I have just completely lost it. What was it, JJ? It was something.
Shadows?
No. Elder Scrolls. The Night Rain. We saw the classes for that. The multiplayer RPG, like Fortnite BR, Elden Ring game.
Elden Ring, not Elder Scrolls. I was so confused for a second.
I was like, we got something for the Elder Scrolls game?
I'm sorry, but no. It's Elden Ring. Okay, that's fine.
My bad. Elden Ring. Anyway, we saw the trailers for that. The classes. It looks pretty good.
Yay.
How was the game? How was the game? Splitgate 2 Alpha out. It's a little jank because I'm playing on keyboard and mouse on console, so it's just a little jank. It's pretty fun so far, though. It's got some interesting classes, got some extra additions. Not hero shooter-esque, but they definitely have powers like throwing up a wall or, through you could just highlight everyone on the team. I can't wait for the official game because right now it's just a mosh pit, so I could play it Domination. But the problem is, it's like a 15-second respawn, or I could play TDM with a 5-second respawn. And it's random. There's probably some other games in there. But, man, it is fun with that momentum, being able to dash through one portal and just fly, especially with the sliding and everything. It's pretty fun, so I'm definitely looking forward to that game. And it's just more to level up. You can level up your heroes and your guns, so, just stuff to grind.
And we all know, Seth loves grinding.
I do.
And on that note, I think we can end this episode for today.
And remember, if you're here because of Skibidi Toilet, what the Sigma? With that, peace out. Bye.